What's up, everyone? It's Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Off the Wall. For those that's new to my channel, this is my show where I go through my record collection, share some of my favorite records with you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'm trying to go up in the algorithms, yeah. Okay. So today, I'm talking about John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band. This album is like, this has to be the one from the 70s. This is like falling apart in my hand. Literally falling apart, if you could tell. Like I don't if I take it out, the whole thing is just ripping apart. This is my favorite John Lennon album, period. John Lennon has a lot of albums, a lot of great albums. This one is my favorite John Lennon album, period. I'm glad to have it in my collection. And yeah, I'm going to put this down and we're going to get into this. All right. This is John Lennon's first solo album since leaving the Beatles. And it's an album that I feel like was like suppressed within the Beatles the whole time. Like, you know how we always got glimpses of, like, obviously John Lennon is like the the realest Beatle, like the more just raw Beatle, you know what I mean? That sounds like a cuisine. Uh, this album, it's just, for lack of better words, it's just pure life and pain. It's no Paul McCartney filler cover up songs that's happy to get blended in. It's not very uh, eclectic and out there far as sound. It's very piano, guitar, drums. It's like very bare minimum. Um, and I tend to like bare minimum albums. I love Sergeant Pepper, but that shit could be, it could be a lot on the ears. So can this, but it could be loud on the ears. And if you haven't already, check out my review that I did on the White Album. It's fucking amazing. A1. Now let's get back to this. So like I was saying, it's a very personal John Lennon album. It feels like we didn't know John Lennon for a decade already. You know what I mean? Like, how did he shell all these songs? And I know he had to have some of them when he was still in the Beatles. I just know he had. Uh, I read that he and Yoko were like participating in a thing called like primal scream therapy. Like prior to it, he did some. I forgot which state he was in, but he did 4 months, and then he did another 4 months, and then him and Yoko passports were being uh revoked. You know they were really trying to kick John Lennon out the country. Isn't that nuts? If you think about it, like in today's time, like it's like, let's kick Adele out the country. Learning that and then going back to re-listen to this album before doing this review, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because when I hear Mother, you hear that pure emotion of just when he's saying, Mama, don't go. Daddy, come home. Like feeling abandoned as a child. This is shit that was always suppressed in him during the whole tenure of the Beatles. We got glimpses of it, but to just let it out on that first song, Mother, and you hear that pain, and that shit brings almost tears to my eyes when I hear it. And I'm like, he's like destroying his vocals. Like, you know what I mean? But that feeling is fucking amazing. Also, even though he's a freaking creep, you got to give respect to Phil Spector on this just for helping him produce it, even though most of it was Yoko. But Phil Spector came in and, yeah, I think him and John Lennon worked very well together. I think that was probably Paul McCartney's gripe. But songs like Mother, just that pain, and then you go into Hold On. He's just telling himself, John, hold on. Yoko, hold on. Everything's going to be all right. It's just so with this... the guitar kind of reminds me of like a Dear Prudence kind of rhythm, but just the personalness of this that was probably shielded the whole time is just, it's just nuts. And if you know John Lennon's background story, you know about him coming up with his mother and father abandoning him and living with his aunt and things of that nature. I remember listening to this album, finding out about this album around maybe 2010. I was going through a phase of just finding new music to listen to, and I ran across this and the Doors and things of that nature. And this album really it fucked me up. It fucked me up. Like Working Class Hero can apply to any time period in life. You know what I mean? Just him describing what it's like to be a working class citizen and anywhere. Just the I'll say I'm living in America, so just like they paint this American dream and how you need to go to college and do all these like here's the steps. You gotta always do these steps, and that's just not always realistic. And it's always not always because that works out for some people, but that could be a setup for some people. They put you in debt like for the rest of your life. Your credit's messed up. Like it's so much stuff that goes into the American dream that they don't really emphasize on. You know what I mean? More like the American nightmare. Isolation. Like that's mental that's a mental health song. like and we didn't even know that yet to me. Like listening back to it and we're afraid of everything. We're afraid of everyone. And isolation. Man, that shit is just being alone and with your own thoughts and feeling alone and misunderstood and things of that nature. It's just nuts, man. I love this fucking album. Oddly, Ringo played like drums on majority of the songs on this album, which is kind of like the whole Beatles was like Beatoing it up without Paul. Like, that's kind of funny. He probably felt like I hate those people at that time. Like they were, and then remember when George played on How Do You Sleep at Night? Like a diss record to Paul. That's nuts. Then you get the records like God, where he just tell you, I don't believe in Beatles. I just believe in me, Yoko with me. All that shit that you thought was it is not it. You know what I mean? All that Beatles shit, yeah, we the greatest group of all time. But at the end of the day, I'm just John, bro. Like, I'm not who you think I am, but I am who I think I am, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I just respect John Lennon's, like, realness. Like, he's just so straightforward. You know, I don't believe in Zimmerman. I don't believe in Gita. I don't believe in that. Just to write that song is just pure poetry and pure honesty and pure, I'm stripping everything away. I want you to know that what you known of me is not what you're going to see from here on out. I think that it's just fucking amazing. The great thing about the Beatles, and I don't want to ramble on too long with this, one of the great things about the Beatles, right? And I mentioned this in my White Album review. Go check that out. But one of the great things about the Beatles is that it's so many great artists in one band that is nuts. Shout outs to Ringo. He's getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame today, I think, along with Notorious B.I.G., which is also dope. Sidebar. But everyone in the Beatles is dope. They all went on to make great albums, like Paul McCartney, Band on the Run, and Ram, and McCartney, like Tug of War. He created so many great albums. John Lennon with Plastic Ono Band and Imagine and Double Fantasy, the comeback album that was just amazing. All Things Must Pass, George Harrison, which this album knocked George Harrison off the charts. And they released them right after the Beatles broke. Do you know how nuts that is to have these songs? These songs were in the can for the most part. Okay, let me get on. Favorite songs, I'm going to go with Remember, Love, and God. I think Remember is my favorite song on the album. Like, I just love the drum pattern and the just remember. Like, it's just very dun 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 dun. It's like I'm just running. Like, I'm just running. Every time that song comes on, I'm just running. Worst song, I don't even want to pick a worst song. My first one was going to be Mommy's Dead, but I felt that was a cop-out because that song was only like 20 seconds. But I'm going to go with, I don't even want to do this, but I'm going to go with Well Well as the worst song. But don't kill me because I know that song is just like rock and roll. Just rock and roll. So it's not a knock to that. I just think that's the weakest song on this album. Best line, I don't expect you to understand after you cause so much pain, but then again, you're not the one to blame. You're just a human, a victim of the insane. I thought that was fucking... Come on, man. That's John Lennon for you. Remember, closing, if you haven't, I figured you're watching this because you listened to this John Lennon album and you love it just as much as I do. But if you haven't, go check that out. I tell you, it's, especially in these times, it's life changing. It's so real. It's just so great. Uh, I say again, it's my favorite John Lennon album. I love Imagine. I love Double Fantasy too, but this one is just, it's just nuts. Like, this is the one. This is the one. Like, these are the songs that he was suppressing and compressing being in the Beatles. He can only let the shots off a few times. Dear Prudence, I'm so tired. Uh yeah, he could only just let them off a few times because he's in the band, and I know that he had to just control some of that. You know what I mean? But this album is just fucking dope. I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna do Paul McCartney's Ram or either Band on the Run next, and George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, because I think those albums outside of those guys being the Beatles are fucking just amazing, just amazing, and they just came out of the Beatles. And on that note, I guess the dream is really over. Thanks for watching. Remember, hit that subscribe button, like, comment. Let's go at it in the comments. Is this your favorite John Lennon album? Am I crazy for thinking this is the best John Lennon album? Let me know. Yeah. And on that note, I'm gonna put this back on my wall.